Welcome to another episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. I'm your host, Dr. Rady Rahban, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, Tony Horton. I mean, that's it. That's all I have to say. Now, for all of you, it's P90X, X90P,
R90Y, pick a
thing. But for me, it's a dear friend, Tony, that I've known for many, many years. And he's honored us by being here because I think for many of you listening, including myself, the idea of fitness, nutrition, and that whole aspect of our lives is something that is elusive, and it's this sort of this carrot that we keep chasing that we can't seem to perhaps capture and or master. So in life, we want guidance, and we want guidance from individuals that A, have mastered it, and B, have the ability to sort of give us the tools or the blueprint. And Tony is the master of fitness, nutrition, and discipline. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're all lucky, including myself, to have Tony here today. So thank you, Tony, for coming. I very much appreciate it.
Love you, man. Thank you.
So everyone listening is an ordinary person. Why I say ordinary is that the people that are in your sphere, because I tried to be in your sphere for a little while, and in your level, Tony, how old are you now?
65.
65. Tony is easily 1,000 times in better shape than me at 49. And so for you to be 65 and in great shape, it's funny because when you're 45 in great shape, whatever. 50 in great shape, 55, 60, it's pretty incredible. But to be 65 in great shape, the only way possible is through these tools, because you can no longer rely on just being young and testosterone or whatever. You actually fucking have to put the rubber to the road.
Correct.
And so the people listening struggle, because I struggle. And there are three things that I think really make up, in my mind, for the people listening. It's whether they're about to want to get surgery, or they're unhappy with their weight, or altogether they just don't love the way they look. Diet and exercise is the blueprint for all of plastic surgery. I can tell you, on a given day, I have consults. I may see 10 people a day, and I swear to God, 5 of them I'm like, you got to lose some weight. Why would I want to lose weight? I'm about to pay you a boatload of money. Just get rid of it. Right. And the reality is that you need to lose the weight to be a good candidate, to have an amazing outcome. It's necessary. And when I say go lose some weight, AKA diet and exercise, and it's not just about weight, but being healthy, literally it's as if I gave them a death sentence, because I can see it in their eyes. They're like, I can't. It's as if they just physically can't. So what I want to do today is together, and I kind of just wrapped it up into the fitness component, I'm moving my ass, the nutrition component, I'm eating correctly, and then the key component, which is the discipline, and how do I execute now these two things that you've described. So let's dive right in. And for the average person, which you've done an incredible job of, you've done an incredible job of taking fitness and dissecting it into small pieces and giving people ways for it to be digested so they can actually do it. So what would you say are some of, for a person who's got a busy life, 3 kids, mom, which is right up your alley because this is what you've done all your life, what are the elements of fitness that they should be incorporating, assuming that they're not into fitness?
Well, first of all, because we've had this conversation multiple times, and a lot of people are unaware, and you kind of touched upon it a little bit, is that if you do take care of yourself, if you start to eat better, and you lose a few pounds before you go into surgery, you'll respond better, and you'll heal a little bit faster. You know, just because every time you exercise, you're bringing in oxygen into the bloodstream, that's going into all parts of your body, you know, in with the good, out with the bad, oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. And so if that becomes a regular habit, maybe only a month before you go into surgery, then, you know, it's just going to be just a better result in general. But one of the things, when we get back to kind of the topic we're talking about, there's a lot of components that don't exist for most people because they don't know better when it comes to how they need to be consistent with exercise. And first of all, they need a reason why. I think a lot of people, they're doing it for all the wrong reasons. They're not really exercising because, you know, they understand how that, you know, makes you healthy today, gives you more more energy today. Your body responds to exercise in such a way, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. You're releasing norepinephrine, dopamine, serotonin, brain-derived neurotropic factor, which is this, this miracle grow inside of your brain. And if you did that just for the sake of wanting to be a better person, not because you want to live a long time, not because you want to look good in a dress at a wedding, not because you care more about what you see in the mirror, not because you care about what other people say about you. The day I stopped caring about what people said and I just only focused on what made me happy. You and I talk about joy and happiness a lot of time. Like, life is chaotic, you know what I mean? And they're coming to see you because they want to look better, but they have to have a different mindset, which is more about the quality of their life. Of course, losing a few pounds, that's really, really important. And in the discipline category, there's other things that are important.
But
too.
in the fitness category, give me. Okay, let's give me 5 things that I can do, because you know what when I give them advice on diet and exercise, I literally give them like 5 things. I'm like, I don't want you to do anything. Just these 5 things. Write them down. I'm like, write them down.
People love lists of things.
You know why? Because they can wrap their brain around
Sure.
it. If they were inherently already had that innate hunger, desire, want, they'd be doing CrossFit, they'd be doing yoga, they'd already be in there. So this is we're trying to drag people into the world that they're not really in. And everyone's looking for an excuse not to do it. Like, I don't know. No. So give me 5 exercises. We'll call them exercises, but movement-related things that will get your heart rate up, that you can do, that you think are the best 5 exercises if you have to do. And I know this is one of those, like, which one of your 5 kids you like, which one of your 10 kids you like better. Pick 5 of them you like. I know that, but what would you say are like, all right, at least do these 5?
Well, let's say, for example, you don't want to go to a gym. You don't want to hang out around a bunch of people. You don't know how to use a bunch of equipment. Maybe you don't want to pay for a trainer. These are 5. I'll give you 4 and then a little bonus one.
Okay, fair enough. Let's start.
Start with the first 4, and then we'll talk about the bonus one. If you have floor, if you have a mat, then you're good to go. You don't need a gym.
So no more excuses about gym membership. I'm awkward around people. And equipment scares me. So you're at your home, you're in your goddamn basement or your bedroom, you got a floor and a mat.
This right here is the best piece of equipment you could possibly have.
Okay.
So you're going to be doing basic calisthenics.
Love it.
On the floor with a mat, decent shoes, comfortable outfit. You can do it in your boxer shorts and a top hat. I don't care.
Okay. So then there's no more excuses because you have all that. If you're listening to podcasts, you're in a house. You're in an apartment.
First off, you've got to get on the floor and do some kind of a push-up. Now, a lot of people think, oh my God, I weigh so many pounds, I can't do a push-up. I've been on stage with 10 people in front of thousands of other people, and they've all raised their hand because they say, I can't do a push-up. And I bring them all up there and I say, yes, you can. Let me show you how. So for some people, their push-up is a 1/4 inch. That's it. Their feet are wide, their arms are wide, and they're just doing whatever they can 5 times, 10 times, 15 or 20. I don't prefer that people go on their knees. A lot of people want to do push-ups on their knees. I just say do a little micro push-up, and then over time you can go deeper and deeper. So that's move number 1.
So number 1 thing, listen carefully, is just do any version, small, medium, or full, of a push-up on your toes. Spread your legs out wide. Keep your hands is it shoulder distance apart?
A little wider than shoulder distance.
A little wider than shoulder distance, and go down as far as you can
and
that you can come back up. And how many of those should they do, and how many of them should they do?
Ideally, I usually say whatever your maximum is. So you're not doing 30 or 40 or 50. Maybe it's 5 or 6 or 7.
Okay, so you do till you're kind of exhausted-ish.
Yeah.
And then how many of those do I do?
Well, that would be your first move and your first set.
Got it. So you're doing that, then you move on to the next exercise.
Yeah, right. Now you're going to change gears completely, and you're going to do some kind of cardiovascular exercise.
Okay.
Punching, kicking, jumping jacks, marching in place, running in place, jogging in place. I don't care, whatever. Anything to get your heart rate up a little bit.
So you're going to do anything that's cardio-based. For example, let's just say jumping jacks.
Little half jumping jacks.
Jumping jack or running in place, or acting like you're airboxing, something that is making you
or dancing. You want to dance? Yeah.
Okay, put on a song that you like.
Do the rumba if you want.
Flash dance and just do the patting of your. Okay,
have the water come out of the ceiling, all of it.
Okay, so and you do that until you're
1 minute.
Oh, 1 minute.
You do that for 1 minute.
So
have a clock with a second hand, or just count to yourself.
Got it.
Doesn't have to be exactly.
Everybody has a goddamn iPhone. Put the iPhone on timer. 1 minute. Got it.
Bang. All right.
Okay.
So
then you go to your third one.
So the reason why they're in the sequence is because you don't need a lot of time in between. Upper body, right? So I'm doing my
right. So
I got chest, shoulders, triceps, and core because my feet are on the ground. Boom, I do whatever, how many. I did 10, yeah, great. Now I start doing my cardio. I do that for a minute. When that's up, you hit the deck, you go on your back, and you do any kind of ab move. You can do regular crunches, you can do bicycles, you can do stuff with your lower body. Whatever you've seen anywhere in the world, if you've done P90X or see me on Tonal or whatever the heck it is, pick one and do between 20 and 30 repetitions depending on your level.
Okay, so the third one is to get on your back and do something that engages your core, aka your ab muscles. And that can be anywhere from as sophisticated as bicycle kicking to a kind of a crunch.
Little crunches.
A little bit. Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on core in the form of any kind of forward crunch, whatever that version is, versus a plank-driven one?
Different. Plank-driven ones are typically harder for most people.
It's funny because, at least for me, when I guide people, not that I would even have any knowledge or skill regarding this, I usually force them towards the plank part because I don't want them injuring themselves, because I feel like, at least for me, I feel like they're going to end up hurting their disc doing crunches. But so
well, here's what I would say.
Can you not do a plank like a 45
Sure,
plank on a chair or a table or something?
Yeah, holding a plank for a 30 count is also
So,
good.
but would that in your mind account still for core, or is that a totally different movement so it doesn't count for the
No,
core?
I mean, actually, that'll go deeper into your transverse abdominis when you're doing core stuff, because you have to keep your body nice and straight, right? You got your toes, legs, forearms, and then you could actually go from, a great move is you're in your forearms and you come up to high plank, and then you go down to your forearms. Just take your time.
Okay,
when
so
I'm...
the third item was...
But to the crunches, what I like is you're going to do it, keep your fingers behind your ears. Don't clasp your fingers behind your head,
so you're not
because you're going to yank
bending
on
up your neck.
When you do a crunch, you don't want to see your arms. So the minute you see your arms, that means you're starting to do this. So if you keep your hands behind your ears, just gently rest your head into your fingertips. Keep your elbows wide, and whatever, come up an inch, 2 inches.
Okay,
whatever.
so third thing, now you finish your 1 minute, boom, you get on the floor, and you do some type of core-based exercise, whether that's bicycle, some version of crunch correctly,
or forearm plank stuff.
Or planks. Got it. Yeah. And how many or how long?
20 to 30 reps.
20 to 30
and
reps.
Maybe for some people, like, oh, 20 seems like a lot. Well, then do 15.
Fine. Do it until you get to, the point is you do it kind of till exhaustion and or up till 20 or 30. Got it.
Great. And then your fourth move would be anything that has to do with your legs. Squats, lunges, you can even get a little off the ground, do some plyometrics, but walking lunges, deep plie squats, whatever it is that activates the glutes and the quads. But make sure that as you go down, chest and eyes are up. You don't want to bend at the waist. So just
what is your if you had to pick one quad or one lower extremity exercise? Is it lunges? Is it standing there and trying to do a squat in front of a mirror? What is that version?
I like two. I like step back lunges. Stepping forward and coming back, that's a little rough for people. So you're just standing nice and tall. One leg goes back. You drop that knee at 45 degrees. You come up. You stand up tall, and you do the left side. Right, left, right, left. 20 to 30 reps. Another one is a plie squat, where your knees are out, your toes are out, and you just you go all the way down. Keep your fingers to the floor. Come up. Bring your hands to prayer, back and forth.
Got it. Okay, so you'll do something, and how many, are you doing reps on that, or are you doing exhaustion
Reps on
again?
that as well, 20 to 30 reps.
Got it. So you've now done this cycle of upper extremity, something in the bench, in the push-up world. Mm-hmm. You've done cardio, something in the running in place until you're tired for 1 minute. You've done the core, something in your belly, and now you've done something in your lower extremities.
Correct.
So what's the bonus?
The bonus is something that is some sort of stretching exercise.
Okay, so give me what is that?
You can do side stretches, you can do side lunges, like wherever you feel kind of tight. You can do some shoulder stuff. It's just to give you a break between those four. So you do those four, and you can do a sun salutation like you do in yoga or something like that.
Okay, so then you'll stretch, aka kind of give yourself a minute here to.
Or you just take a break and drink some water, and then when you're ready, you do that some version of those four things again. And then you do your stretch or take your break, and then you do those four things again. 3 rounds is pretty good, but if you can do 4 and 5 rounds, you've knocked it out of the park.
So that can't be any more simple. I mean, that's like basic, I'm talking elementary school shit. And the fact of the matter is that I would venture to tell you that 99% of people don't even do that. And why I'm telling you that it's so basic is it almost is the inertia of getting going. Here I am, a guy that was doing a triathlon. Literally, I was doing a triathlon at 42, and I can tell you that I am so immersed in the inertia of mud, quicksand, that the idea of getting up and even going for a bike ride, which I could do with the ease, is so high because I'm so buried in non-activity. And I think that's the key element. Because I think
Because you're missing 4 other things. There's 4 other things that are vital if you really want to be successful. Number 1 is your reason why. Like, so I want to do this because I know this is better. I want to be a better dad. I want to be a better husband. It activates all these chemicals inside of my head. And if you play any kind of sport whatsoever, tennis, mountain climbing, riding your bike, like me, I'm a skier. I exercise because I know there are other physical activities that I really enjoy.
Yeah,
and if I don't exercise, I won't be able to do anything. And so that my world gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But for most people, why don't you exercise? Because you know it improves your physical, mental, and emotional state immediately. All right. And then number 2 is a plan. You got to know what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. So, if you've got if a busy, crazy life, then you've got to give yourself that half an hour or an hour, and you got to put it on a calendar, and you got to announce it to the world. Do not schedule anything here on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or whatever your 4 to 5 to 6 days a week are. That hour is yours. No one's allowed to interrupt it. The whole world knows. That way, if I've got this hour, I better go do it. Number 3 is accountability. Now, a lot of people can get up in Minnesota and it's 14 degrees outside and 38 inside in their garage, and they go down there and they do their hour-and-a-half yoga anyway. I don't know who they are. They're superstars. That ain't me. I make sure that I'm accountable to somebody. So today, there were 8 people at my house. It was a 4-hour ninja thing, whatever. They're all half my age. And if nobody showed up, I probably wouldn't have done it. And you can find accountability in your house, in your neighborhood, at work, online. Sometimes when you have other people, that's how the people who have a partner when they quit smoking are more successful when they try to do it on their own.
Right.
So accountability. And another thing is tracking your progress. Don't be arbitrary about it. Like, so, keep a general track of how it's going. I ran 2 miles today. Well, don't keep running 2 miles all the time. Run 2.5, run 3, run faster. All right. And then you just kind of jot it down. Everybody's got tech on their phones and on their watches and on their laptops and whatnot. So tracking it is important. Well, that way you go, well, I can see the improvement. I can see how that I've got better. I can do more reps. My range of motion has improved. All these great things are happening to me. And for me, like at 65, as hard as I train, as consistent as I am, and as badass as all the stuff I do, it's really about the quality of my life. I just feel better. I feel more present.
I mean, it's an unarguable. The crazy part about it is, I don't think any of the people that I would, let's just take this group of people that I'm referring to. And actually, I've kind of, interesting enough, for the first time in my life, I'm in that group. All my life, I've been active. I played basketball. I did triathlons. I was fit. I was lifting weights. I never had an issue because I'm a disciplined person and I'm a type A person. So it was all around necessary. For the first time in my life, because I'm overwhelmed at work and I just got a lot on my plate, I'm in that other category. And so it's actually very interesting to me because now I understand the mindset of the inertia required. Everything we're talking about is great, but the biggest challenge is getting the motion going and going and going. Because once you get the inertia going, the friction coefficient necessary to keep going is much lesser. It's easier to keep going than it is to get going. And so the purpose of having you today is to kind of give people these tiny aliquots so that they can get off their ass. And then I do believe that then they'll see, holy shit, I feel a little bit better. Oh my God, I feel like more oxygen. Oh, I'm not so tired at night. Oh, my neck doesn't hurt as much. So we got down the basics of some, again, I'm talking elemental levels of physicality. You have to have a physicality in your life. And that physicality can be as sophisticated as Tony Horton 4-hour ninja course or these 4+1 basic ass things you do. Obviously, that isn't our end goal. That's our starting point. Right. I want people like me to get going again. Right. And what I need you to do is just do the smallest little fucking thing so you're like, oh, I can see that. I can now. And then it'll remind you of that. That's what I know that I
Starting is the hardest thing.
Right.
And by the way, here's another one. 2 things. Keep your expectations down. Super low. Like in the cellar, in the basement. You know what I mean? Show up. Just show up. Here's another one is go shopping. Go shopping and get some really badass, groovy shoes and clothes and put them in a separate place. Don't let them mingle with the other clothes. They have a special little cabinet, a little drawer, wherever they are, and that's where they live, and you know where to go to get them. And then the night before you do your workout, take it all out and put it someplace on the end of the bed, on the bench, whatever, on the ottoman, and put it there. And those clothes, that's easy to do. If you can't, get the clothes that you just bought that you love out of a drawer and put them someplace where you're going to see them in the morning. If you can't do that, then you're never going to get it, because those clothes are there. And number 3 is buy an old school calendar and hang it either on your refrigerator, the back of your front door, or your bathroom mirror, places where you're looking at all the time. And you hang a red pen on that thing, all right? And now you're going to write down the exact time and what you're going to do. Plyo, let's see, Monday 8 o'clock, I got chest and back. I got all these different things. You write it all down, and then you hang your pen. And so now you got the clothes staring at you. Now you got your calendar where it's right there in the freaking refrigerator, or it's on the back of the door or the bathroom mirror. And then you're gonna go, and then I'm gonna do that stupid thing Tony told me, but I'm only gonna do 1 round. He said 3 rounds minimum. Well, screw Tony Horton, I'm only gonna do 1. And then you're gonna decide how you feel, and you go, I got the clothes on. I'm here.
Yeah,
I've committed
sure.
to 30 minutes. Maybe I'll do a second, third round. And then you take a magic marker and you make the X. And you do that at least 22 times a month. Because 15 X's means 15 days off, which means you're going to end up with exercise bipolar disorder. You know what I'm saying? So the idea here is to be consistent. And here's another thing I want to say is we're all surviving, which is great. That's most people. All right? We pay our bills, we go to work, we eat our regular meals, we try to get some decent sleep, we're trying to be decent parents. But what's happening is we're aging at such an accelerated rate when we get into our 40s and 50s. And if you want to thrive as opposed to survive, then you got to start moving your ass 5 to 6 days a week till the day you die.
Yeah, no, there's absolutely no question about, the benefits of eating well and exercise. Whether you need plastic surgery or not is irrelevant. That's inconsequential. If you've had 3 kids in your, I've done plastic surgery on triathletes that are fucking amazing, in great shape, but they still need the plastic surgery. So the purpose of dialogue is not do this in lieu of. The purpose of it is you need to do this no matter
because
what.
As fit as I am at 65, you will be doing this sooner than later.
Right.
This is going to be happening.
Right, because so it isn't that, you didn't need plastic surgery because you could just do this with diet and exercise. No, man, I couldn't have fixed my nose with diet and exercise. This hanging breast is not going away with diet and exercise. The loose skin beneath my, as a matter of fact, ever since I started diet and exercise, I actually have more loose skin because I lost weight. Right. So let's shift gears for a second and let's talk about nutrition. Because as you know and I know, is and people come in like, I can't lose 15 pounds. I'm like, listen, 94% of this is what you're eating, and 6% of it is, you could literally lose 100 pounds and never get off of your ass if you change your diet. Of course, the diet and exercise, the exercise catapults it. But you'll never lose a pound, even if you exercise every day, if you're fucking having Twinkies. Mm-hmm. So I want to take a quick break here, and then we're going to come back. And I want you to do the exact same thing that we did with the exercise, which is dumb it down so dumb that even I can understand it, and I'm stuck in molasses. Gotcha. And I want you to give me the same thing, 4 or 5 Tony Hortonisms, tiny little things that you can do dietary-wise to complement the exercise, all of which is just to get the inertia going. Because, of course, the sky's the limit in terms of the exercise, and the sky's the limit in terms of nutrition. So we're going to come right back. We're going to continue with Tony, who's giving you, guys, this is amazing. You're very lucky. He's going to give you the details and the do's and don'ts of nutrition. Let's take a quick break. All right, guys, welcome back to the second half of Plastic Surgery Uncensored with Tony Horton, my dear friend. Tony.
Yes.
Dumb it down for me here. Give me the basics of your basic 4 or 5. Same thing you did when it comes to nutrition.
Well, food is the big nemesis for most people.
It really is.
The one thing about exercise, it's only 30 minutes to an hour, 5 to 6 days a week, and then you have the other 23 hours where you get to heal and recover and have your life. Food happens all day
100%.
Long, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and
constantly having to make choices, constantly making good choices.
And most people are addicted to fat, sugar, salt, and chemicals, right? Because they've been eating the same garbage. Maybe, and I grew up on cinnamon toast and fluffernutters, and if you don't know what that is, an East Coast thing, it's peanut butter and marshmallow cream and white bread.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And Fritos.
Wow.
And
that's like the spam of foods.
And Dr. Pepper and stuff, and some people in some parts of the country kind of get it, and they're struggling still, but they have a general sense of what's good for you and what's bad for you. So, it's fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats. And, you don't have to be a rocket scientist not to know what those things are. But how do you how do you go from somebody who's so addicted to the fat, sugar, salt, and chemicals and all the food they've been eating for decades and just jump into vegetables? Not an easy thing to do.
All right, so help me here.
So you got your vegans, your vegetarians, your pescatarians, your paleo, your keto, your holy smokes. There are so many choices. What do I do?
Intermittent fasting, you forgot that one on there.
And there's intermittent fasting has become really popular that I've started to do, and I'm getting great benefits from it, and I love it. So here's a simple thing that I tell people to do. Get a piece of paper, legal pad.
Can it be the same paper that has the calendar on it?
No, you got to get a new piece of paper.
Do I have to get a different red pen, or
you got to get, you got to get a pencil or a pen, regular pen.
Don't get this one's a pencil or a pen. I'm into details.
So I like that. So you put a line down the center, and on this side you write yes, and over here you write no. And so on the yes list, it's fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins and fats that you know. I love avocado, that's going on there. I love blueberries, I'm going on. I love pecans, and that's going on there. I love, free range chicken, that's okay. I like, elk.
Where's pizza on that list?
Pizza on that list. Yeah.
It doesn't.
But
you can't fall under dairy or something.
But you get a third category.
Okay, it's
you
the cheat day.
You get your cheat food category. You get your release valve, right? You get
okay.
and by the way, you only get to have that twice a week.
No, that's fine. I can do
twice a week. Like so that way you don't feel. I don't want people to feel deprived.
Okay, so then you have you write the things that you're supposed to eat, and you pick the items within that category that actually isn't that much suffering. I actually really like avocados. Okay, great. So you did that. Then you go to the
no side.
Okay.
All right. And by the way, you can't fast food. Got to go. Candy. Got to go.
Yeah. Anything in a wrapper.
Yeah. Whole dairy. Got to go. You know what I mean? So. And you get to have some of these things a couple times a week, so you don't feel deprived. So you can be like, oh God, it's Sunday and it's noon and I'm at the ball game and I want a hot dog, The other thing too is you don't want to judge the process. It doesn't have to be perfect. I was an 80-20 guy for a while, meaning 80% of the time I ate super clean.
Yeah.
20% of the time. I was cheating with what? Burgers and pizza and yada yada. And I realized for me after a while that didn't work anymore, and I had to be a 90-10 guy. Now I'm a 95-5.
But that's because of discipline and over time.
That just takes time.
But if you start someone out and you make it so challenging, they'll never bother to start. And the key is we're talking about the start now, not the maintenance nor the finish line. So just the start. If you don't give yourself enough wiggle room, if you give yourself too much wiggle room, you're just cheating yourself. Don't bother even fucking trying. But you have to give them enough wiggle room, which I agree to, because if it's too disciplined, they don't bother to try. So you write the foods, which probably is all the items that you're eating, because that's why
causing the problem in the first place.
So you write them, okay, and then you have 2 items, 1 item. What's your cheat item? How does it work?
I mean, my cheat item, I don't even want to say because people think I'm nuts, but like that healthy, high fiber, low glycemic, high protein bar I was eating before, most people would think, oh wow, he's eating some cardboard. That's his cheat. That's my cheat.
Got it. So you eat sand as your cheat day.
Mostly sand and celery. Yeah.
Got it. So how often can you have it? You said twice a week.
Twice a week.
Is it 2 meals or twice a week? 2 days a week I can eat whatever.
2 meals.
2 meals. Guys, I'm trying, guys. I'm trying to get you extra. I mean,
you
fucking days.
You don't want to destroy all that discipline.
I'm just
eat
messing
horribly for Saturday and Sunday.
No. So you get 2 meals where you can not go 8.
Yeah. Oh man, I want that pepperoni pizza.
Got it.
Yeah, man. I want to wake up in the morning and I want to have bacon and I want to have eggs and I want to have toast covered in butter. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That way, like, oh wow, I'm making some adjustments. I'm making some improvements, but I don't feel so deprived and so angry about this thing. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh wow, I'm doing really well. I'm proud of myself. I'm doing my yes and staying away from my no. But Sunday's coming and there's a brunch and boom. Go to town, have some fun.
Of course.
Other thing too, 2 more things.
Sure.
If you can afford it, I'm assuming most people who are watching this who can afford plastic surgery should get a nutritionist and an endocrinologist in their life. So just search, look around, ask your friends, Google it. Just have somebody who can reinforce what I'm saying and also give you some other strategies. And I also recommend getting some blood work. Blood work tells you, and get some very elaborate blood work. I had it done the other day, 12 vials, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, out of my arm. And then so my nutritionist, endocrinologist looks at it and says, you need to make an adjustment here. Then she'll ask me questions. Are you fatigued? Do you have pain? When I cut out wheat, soy, corn, and dairy,
of course.
my knee pain went away.
Yeah,
my shoulder pain went away. My energy went up. Because, those things just weren't working for my body.
The thing about it is that we currently, 2023, we have all the science. When we were in the 60s and 70s, you could say, well, shit, I didn't know How did I know what gluten was?
Yeah, cigarettes were helping lung capacity.
Yeah.
Back then.
But now we know everything. So the issue now is not knowledge anymore. The issue now is not knowledge. The issue, and I've never met anyone in my office where I'm like, you need to lose 10 pounds. They're like, what do you mean? I want to gain 10 pounds. I like being fat. It just doesn't happen that way. Right. They're always like, yeah, shit, I know.
Yeah. It's application.
And then, so let's, because now we've talked about some really basic crap you can do to get going. And we talked about some really basic crap that you can do to eat right. And now is the problem. And the problem is, let's reiterate one more time those key elements that you and I talked about, which you've been discussing the whole time, which is, how do I apply the discipline? How do I actually, God, I don't want to get up. So you said, I remember one of them was accountability, right? Mm-hmm. Another one of them was carving out the time. Yeah. Another one of them was like buy things.
Buy things that you want to wear and keep it out where you can see it.
Right, I'm going in the wrong order. So tell me, because I know you have this down to
Purpose
a science.
is everything.
Purpose.
Reason why is it?
The reason why I want to do it is I want to feel better. I want to be around for my child. Frankly, vanity is a phenomenal driving
why
force.
not?
I want to look good.
Yeah,
so I got
too.
the reason. So what's after reason? What's after reason?
Plan.
So, I got to have a plan. So I guess that's the schedule part.
Yeah.
Right? Like I gotta carve
out the time, tell the world.
Yeah, because I can tell you that if you don't carve out the time, it'll never happen. No. A perfect example is...
If you wing it, it won't happen.
Never. A perfect example is if I, for many years, I'm very bad at self-care and self-love. I'm just all about cranking and working and operating. And I realized that I'm having a lot of back pain. My wife's like, you didn't need to get a massage. I'm like, massage? Who gets massages? It's just people who are pampering themselves. She's like, no, what are you talking about? You're a machine. All you do is stand all day. Finally, long story short, I agreed to get the massage. And I would just...
Were you miserable?
No. I have my phone next. It's horrible. I'm terrible. But the point I'm making is that I would try to schedule the massage randomly, and it would never happen until I put it on the calendar. And every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, do or die, I go get a massage. And the minute I implemented it on the calendar, it is when it became pretty bulletproof, barring I'm stuck in surgery. Because it was now something that I worked around. Everyone knew that's what I do. And the same thing with my Sunday drives. No matter what, 7:30, I'm in Malibu. So absolutely, plan is very, very important. What's after plan again?
Accountability.
And so that means...
And your plan is part of your accountability. Right. You've written it down, you've done it. But accountability also comes from...
people around you.
I always say find your tribe. Find your partners.
So when you say accountability, may I specify? Is it such that you're doing? I know your accountability is often to do it with other people because they show up and then you have to show up.
Right. But during the pandemic, no one could do that.
So what would accountability also be like? Having your partner be like, hey, honey, I guess it's 8 a.m. It's your time to do your thing. Is that accountability?
No, it is not. The worst kind of advice is to give is the kind that's not been asked for. Because your best intentions are received with resentment, right? So the idea here is, like if I with Shauna, my wife, hey honey, what time's your workout? I'll get the death stare. I don't need you to ask me what I need to do with my world and my life.
So how do you do accountability when it's not that you're in your so accountability essentially means to do it with other people.
Find like-minded people who want to do what you want to do. And by the way, it has to be you that takes that initiative. I mean, everybody I would assume who's watching has 50 friends. I mean, during the pandemic, we all
zoomed it together.
We all zoomed it.
Right.
I'm in my little space, and we can hardly see anybody, and the sound is really terrible. But we wanted to be fit. We wanted to be healthy. We wanted to feel good.
Okay, so surround yourself with like-minded people. Check. I got that. That's accountability. What's after that?
Well, there's intensity as well. Intensity in tracking.
Tracking. I remember. So I always say that. Like I weigh myself every morning. Every morning, same place, same outfit, same. So then I know, holy shit, I gained 3 pounds. Oh God, I gotta have salad today.
And you want that custom suit to
right,
fit.
Otherwise what am I gonna do with this? The button will hit you in the eye.
You're gonna give it to me.
It's gonna bing, the button will break off and hit you in the eye. No, so I 100% am about trackability because then you wanna know what direction you're going. Did it work? Did it not work?
What adjustments do I need to make?
Right. Weighing myself has been very important for me because it keeps me on track and allows me to know if I'm off track or not. Anything else?
Form and function.
Okay,
You
so
know what I mean?
talk
There's a
about-
lot of people that are very athletic and very fit and have great hand-eye coordination and have great range of motion and they're very flexible and that's all wonderful. I'm not one of those guys. I have to work on those things. And it's funny, today we were shooting this segment for my supplement line and we had 2 cameras there and a lot of the guys were like, hey, can I see that shot? And they're looking at it going, I had no idea that my back was so slacky. I had no idea that my range of motion was so terrible. I had no idea that my chin was in my chest when my head should have been out here. So it's really a matter of, and this is for people who are persnickety like you and I, the better you do things, the better your body reacts, the more calories you burn, the more time under tension that you'll have, and it also prevents
injury.
Yeah. So you're more durable and you're less vulnerable. If you're just all willy-nilly and sloppy and not really paying attention, just going through the motions, then you're not going to see the results that you want. You're going to get bored, you're going to get hurt, and you're going to plateau.
Well,
and then you're going to say, see, I told you so.
That's actually interesting because that's how I herniated my disc. I was willy-nilly. I had done, I don't know if I biked a ton, then I lifted weights a ton, and then somebody asked me to go do yoga with them.
And you did too much in one day.
I was a weekend warrior. There was a yoga. I blame yoga, but it wasn't yoga. And I came in. And then I came in, and then I came in on Tuesday. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was taking care of a little kid. I'd done some kind of laceration or something. A piece of paper fell on the ground. I bent down to pick up the paper. Pow! That was it. I herniated my disc.
Sometimes, and it's more often than we know, less is more.
Yeah. Well, that was just complete idiocracy. So I want to ask you these 4 things because this is what I tell patients. I think the key is, at least for me, is to create, and you've done an amazing job of this because that's the way one communicates things, is to create bite-sized and repetitive mantras or things so that people can, oh, that's a Tony. Tony's talking to me in my head. I like to be repetitive.
Do your best to forget the rest. The more you do, the better you get.
Right,
keep
yeah.
your expectations low.
Right, those are Tonyisms, right? And then it works. It's not corny. It works because they're oh, I always remember what my dad used to say to me, right? Well, there's a fucking reason because that person was saying something that was intelligent and you trusted him. So
because it's the opposite of the noise in your head that says I can't, that says I'm too tired, I'm afraid. Right? You got to replace those with new
words, new dialogue.
So
the 4 things I tell patients, because again, what I'm trying to do as a clinician is just motivate people because they come to me for perfect example. Hi, I'm a mom of 4. I'm 39 years old. I've had 3 kids. I'm a therapist as well, and and I started out prior to kids. I'm 5'6". I weighed 130, and now I'm 164. Very common. And I say to them,
I hear about the same people. You and I dealing with the same people.
And they say to me, I have this huge diastasis, muscle separation. My belly is bulging. I have this excess skin and stretch marks. I have a hernia in my belly, and my breasts are sagging. And the answer is, you need surgery. But at 164, you'll look good. At 144, you not forget about 130. Those days are gone. Forget about it. That was a different person, different frame, different biology, different physiology. At 144, you'll look spectacular. So for me, because I'm a picky guy, I want to operate on the canvas that allow me to get you a home run. I don't want to operate on the canvas that's going to get you a second base. Even though that second base in your world will still be a home run, I know better. So then I tell them, just hear me out. You need a tummy tuck, you need your muscles repaired, you need a breast lift, you need an implant, all that. Go lose 15, 20 pounds. And then I want to arm them with something so they can physically do it. Because I know they would have lost 20 pounds if they could, they just can't. So I've broken it down into these 4 basic things about eating. Because I'm not the exercise guy. It's just, listen, move, try to move, do stuff, go buy tonal, go listen to Tony. Here's a P90X. But I say to them, the problem that you're having are the basic things. And I always give them these little things. So I tell them, 1, try not to eat after 6. Try not to eat late. Whatever you're going to eat garbage. Eat it all. Stop eating at 6. Right. So that's something like, oh, shit, it's 6:30. Dr. Rahban said don't eat.
And by the way, some people are getting up later.
Fine.
And their time is 7.
Fine. The point being is don't eat and then go to bed 2 to 3 hours later.
Right.
That's one.
Bingo.
You agree with that one?
Absolutely.
Second thing is I said it's what you eat, how much of it you eat, and when you eat. What you eat, how much of it you eat, and when you eat. So what you eat is, am I going to eat broccoli or am I going to eat Snickers? Right? So when you go to pick...
Yes category,
right.
No category.
So I say, just don't buy shit.
If it ain't in the house, you can't eat it.
So just don't buy shit you don't want to eat.
Yeah.
I say, how much of it you eat matters. So like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I eat broccoli, I eat Brussels sprouts. I go, how much of it do you eat? Oh, well, yeah, I mean, I eat a lot of it. So caloric intake, I say, listen, figure out what you need. How much calories do you need being a sedentary person? 1,400? 1,500? So pick the calories and don't go above it. And the last is when you eat. So I am a perfect example of that thing. I don't eat much calories in a day because I don't have that much time and I don't have that kind of appetite. But I eat them in 2 large ass meals. So I'll consume 800 calories in a meal, and then I'll get tired and I want to fall asleep, and then I'll be starving, I'll eat again. I have the worst relationship with food as far as timing is concerned. I will eat well. I won't eat a lot, but I'll eat it in one swoop. I'm like, we're not really designed to do that. You should be grazing. Take the meals that you're gonna have, make small amounts of it, and eat it throughout the day. You shouldn't be hungry, you shouldn't be full. You should really be neutral. If you're hungry, you've waited too long. If you're starving, if you ate too much and you're overfull, your digestion is, and that's how I break it down. Do you agree with those things?
I agree with those things. That is a strategy that would work for most people for sure.
So, well, that's what I tell them. I'm like,
I mean, there are outliers, but whatever, you know.
So I say, find out how many calories you need. I don't think you really need more than 1,500 calories. Pick items that fall into that. Make sure you're eating good stuff. And then take all those things that you're going to eat, put them in eat 4 times a day instead of twice a day. And do not eat after 6 o'clock or 6:30 or 7. If you promise me you can do that or eliminate one goddamn item, I promise you lose 10 pounds in a month. No questions, you couldn't lose 10. I'm not asking you to lose 100 pounds.
Yeah.
So it's just these small, because once they're off and running, then they'll automatically decide, oh my God, I feel amazing. And after I got going, I decided to be a swimmer. I decided to do Tony's thing. It's just to get that, it's just that initial inertia. The people I'm seeing are heavily enrooted in quicksand. They haven't put anything in motion in a while.
The one thing that I would say, and I know anybody who's watching would agree with 2 things. Number 1, do you want to heal better because you're changing your behavior, and do you want to look better after the surgery? And if they are doing the things that we're talking about, they will heal faster. They will look better. Like you said, if they're 165 as opposed to 145. Of course they're going to have a better outcome just because that 20 pounds isn't there.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean? And also because they're exercising all the time before they see you, the body just heals better that way.
Yeah, of course, their oxygen level's great, their heart condition's better, they're pumping blood throughout the whole system.
So if they want a better outcome, which they all want, then they would do what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's really.
And they don't have to do it for a year before they see you.
No, but
they could do it for like a month or 2, and it would be amazing.
Is there any? Are there any? If in the world of foods, are there any? I hate to use the word superfoods because they're just such a stupid name. But are there foods that you're like, guys, these few items,
get this in the house.
These items, for what they are, how many calories they are, they're just great foods. They give you a ton of nutrition in a small amount. Do you have your
sweet potatoes, top of the list?
Sweet potatoes. What do they give you?
Well, the vitamins and the minerals. It has like the most of both than almost anything you can find.
Got it. Do you don't bake it, boil it? How do you cook it?
You don't fry it. You don't.
For sure.
They're not sweet potato fries.
Yeah, you're not. You're not doing it in batter.
They're not sweet potato truffle fries.
Right. So boiling or baking is acceptable.
Baking is really good, and then you add get a spice rack that has something more than salt and pepper in the house, and learn how to use your spices. Because I'm not a big fan of sweet potatoes, because
I hate sweet potatoes. Just
you hate sweet potatoes.
I hate them, but
I don't like them either. Like if I get a half of a sweet potato who's just baked.
Does Shauna make a good one, or do you make a good one?
No. She cuts them up in little squares.
Yeah,
and then she'll put them in a pan.
And then make them crispy.
Oh
yeah,
then she'll put I don't know what she like all.
Can you bring that over next time?
Yeah, we'll bring it over next time.
That I'm down.
And I'm going to turn you into sweet potato.
If it's cooked that way, I can do it.
Yeah.
And then what about
not corn? Sorry, cauliflower, carrots, leafy greens. And then there's a lot of salad dressings out there. I mean, just plain old salads: blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. I mean,
But what about this glycemic index part? Because I'm going to get one of those. So, like, someone told me. Someone told me that.
But if you eat a massive bowl of blueberries, well, of course your glycemic index is going to go.
Is there a particular?
I have a magic word for you: ramekins.
What the hell is a ramekin?
What is a ramekin? Everybody at home.
Is that like a mannequin?
A ramekin is a tiny little dish. A tiny little dish. When I have
portion control.
When I have
is that you're trying to make me?
If the bowl,
is that because I'm the ethnic guy? I'm like, what the?
I don't know.
What the hell?
By the way,
ramekin?
until I met Sean, I never heard of the word. She goes, hey, honey, will you get the ramekins at the bottom of that drawer? I said, you're asking me to get something that's in our house that I never heard of before.
You're talking about a saucer, a tea.
They're
a tea
little
plate?
tiny, like you put like little dips in it and stuff.
Oh,
like
right,
when I have pretzels, because I'll eat a whole bag. I put them in a ramekin. Here's what I do.
So portion control.
Portion control. So this is just for everybody. If you like, there's healthy snacks. There's low glycemic snacks. There's high fiber snacks. There's a lot of stuff out there now that are vegan and whatever and pretty healthy. But if you eat a crap load of them, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
So pull it out of the cabinet. You're going to have because you got to have those cheat snacks too. Pull it out. Put it in the ramekin, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to go through this in 2 seconds. Yeah, you are. And then you're going to take the bag, you're going to fold it up, you're going to put a clip on it, you're going to put it back in the pantry.
So I shouldn't do what I did last night, which is
then
open the bag, take the bag, sit. I literally went through a bag of chips. I'm such an asshole.
That's why I'm here to help you too.
Well, that's why
so you put it in the ramekin.
Yeah, we have the
ramekins. And then you sit down and you eat out of the ramekin. And then you see that empty ramekin and you go, do I need to go back in the pantry, open up the bag, and put more chips in that ramekin? And 7 times out of 10, you'll say, you know what? Tony said to stop at the one ramekin and I'm good to go. Think about that's between a decent calorie count as opposed to an off the
portion
chart.
Control is the key to the last item, and then I'll let you go, is the idea of supplements. So my wife, as you know, is struggling in her own health journey, and as a result, she always was very healthy. She was a model, so she ate very well. She was very clean, and she was always very interested in taking care of herself. But ever since she had this health condition, she's gone down that rabbit hole, which so many people do that suffer with medical problems. And she's become a holistic supplement expert, if you will. Some of the things that are out there, anytime that there's a market, there'll be scammers. So are there
a lot of people are taking things they don't need.
Right. So are there supplements that you think, great, do it, great, everyone should have it? Are there supplements, stay away, it's all a scam? Because like in plastic surgery, you ask me, hey, what about this machine? It's going to get rid of my stretch marks, right? No, it's a scam. So are there supplements you're like, yeah, I think this is good for the general public, and no, these you should stay away from?
Well, of course, this is a one-size-doesn't-fit-all category.
100%.
But if you look at people who are active often, football, baseball, basketball, tennis, swimmers, blah, blah, anybody who's athletic and they have a coach or a trainer, they have the top of the line supplements and they're very disciplined with that, and they're taking them every day consistently because that's part of the recovery healing process. I mean, nobody questions vitamin C, nobody questions fiber, nobody questions, the science behind astaxanthin or CoQ10, right? If you need, and when I go to my endocrinologist / nutritionist and I get my blood work, she can tell by my blood work where I need, your testosterone's where, your estrogen, you add a little bit more C. Oh, we're super low on D. I mean, everybody knows about D. People are trying to avoid the sun so they don't go out in the sun, but you're not getting the D. So nobody questions the power of vitamin D. Whether you're high school, collegiate, Olympic, professional athlete, they're all taking supplements. Supplements saved my life because I got Ramsay Hunt syndrome. I lost 20 to almost 30 pounds. I couldn't get out of bed. I was dead as a doorknob. And I had, everybody who's in my age, they're in the middle of sarcopenia. It's happening. It's age-related muscle loss. And so when you're losing that muscle and you're not activating that muscle and regenerating those cells, then you better figure out whatever else that you need. Obviously, protein. Nobody questions protein. But we're doing it with protein with bacon and burgers and stuff when it should be just high quality either whey or plant-based protein. I mean, I take dozens of pills every day.
You're exceptional because you're also a Formula One car going at 180 miles an hour, putting it through strain. The average person gets up. So I'll tell you what I take. For example, I take a multivitamin, which I never did before, but I take it because in it is some basic crap that everyone needs. I also take an additional zinc because we realized that zinc was affected because I have autoimmune condition, thereby which my absorption through my gut isn't as good. So I'm actually deficient because even though I eat nutritionally, I'm not picking it up. And I
take zinc for the same reason.
So zinc was not getting absorbed. I did a zinc test and boom, I was like, what the hell? Like as if no zinc entered my body. So is there anything that you recommend? Should people take a multivitamin? Or no, don't even bother, it's a hoax.
I take a multivitamin. I take protein powder. I have something for my digestion. I take.
You do take a digestive enzyme.
I take my own Foundation 4 that I created to help clean up my gut.
We're going to get
health.
to your supplement line in 1 second.
Yeah.
Do you take the supplement? Do you take the digestive enzyme with every meal? Do you take it in the morning?
First thing in the morning, and then I take a lot in the morning, and I take a few with dinner at night. Now, what I would also say to anybody who's watching is, without the blood test,
you can't just
you're
go.
You're
blind and doing the blind.
You're guessing.
So you're not recommending general supplements for across the board for people. You're saying
Not if you
supplements.
don't, yeah. Why you're just peeing it out.
So you're saying you need to
Get the blood work. Talk to the expert.
Target specific supplementation.
Based on what's happening to you, because the average person who's overweight, who's inactive, who's not getting good sleep, who's dehydrated, and they're eating overly processed, overly cooked food that's been shipped across the country and around the world, by the time it finally gets their plate, it has zero to no nutritional value. It has almost no fiber, and that's why they're ending up with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and type 2 diabetes and hypertension and heart problems. Because so if you don't want to work out and you don't care about your diet, then if you get some blood work, maybe the supplements can fill in some of the gaps.
No, of course, naturally, they're not going to fix you being sedentary and overweight and eating Twinkies, but they'll tell you that, listen, you've been eating this food. Here are all the things that you're deficient in. I do think that it'll be nice to see it, because I think people respond to blood work. Like, I think you're like, what? There's nothing wrong with me, and then you go like, yeah, your cholesterol's 440. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. You eat cheese, bacon. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh wow, oh okay. So I do think blood work is very good. Is it just a regular panel?
No, I would say go to a nutritionist and do it. Most doctors that I know, every time I hear about somebody's blood panel, they go, oh, my doc says everything's fine. Well, you have this problem, that one, and this one, and that one. So if you have all these issues, is it just bad luck? Is it genetics? Is it behavior? Is it environment? I don't know, but go to somebody who's an endocrinologist / nutritionist or some combination thereof. You're gonna, like most people, they'll get like maybe 4, 5, or 6 vials. They're taking 12 out of me because they want to know more.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, in summary, so let's go through this again. So, if you're at home,
everybody,
and you're sitting there and you're like, God damn it, I could really use to lose, I don't know, 20.
Because I'm gonna go see Dr. Rahban.
Yeah,
and
don't come to see me.
I want a great result.
Right.
And I could just go in there, like whatever, 45 pounds overweight and be okay or be better based on what we're saying.
So I really think that if you're obese and you're 50 pounds or more, I think you fall in a different category. Can you do it with diet and exercise? Absolutely. If you became religious about everything we said today, you could lose 257 pounds.
I know people who've lost, my friend Jeremy Yost lost 180 pounds.
No, there's no question about
it.
But the heavier you get, I think the more further you get from the reality. You have to
it's
kind of
harder
look.
Too.
I think you need to look at life in reality. I am a fan of any type of bariatric surgery if you're morbidly obese. Go do it, man. Go save. That's a life vote. Mm-hmm. Go do it. But for the rest of the people who are 20 or 30 pounds overweight, which is not morbidly obese, but it's certainly not a healthy, happy lifestyle, the things you need to understand is, number one is you need to move your ass. I think Tony gave some really basic things. If you like
By the way, here's another option. Go for a walk where there's hills.
For sure.
There.
Just do something to get going, and that something should ideally, if I get it right, include moving your muscles, doing some cardio, and doing some stretching. It's really the basics. Move some muscles, do some cardio, do some stretching. Subsequently, you need to eat better, A, so you're not gaining so much weight, and B, so that you're actually fueling the exercise that you're doing. It's like driving a locomotive and absolutely putting zero coal in the locomotive.
Right.
And those are writing the good foods, writing the bad foods, and holding yourself accountable, not bringing in Twinkies in the house and wondering why you don't have the discipline not to eat them. And the last, and I think that's where Tony highly excels. I don't think Tony's telling you any earth-shattering moves that he does, but I think where Tony excels, and I think why you've been so successful, is where people fall off the map is in the world of discipline. Mm-hmm. Because they'll know the right exercises, they'll know the right foods, and they just can't get their ass into gear. And you're motivating, you're inspiring, both from the fact that you look the way you do, but you have that, go, come on guys, you can do this, come on. So what is a coach? A coach is a person telling you what you already know, but in a way that you somehow believe it. right?
Yeah.
And
I mean,
so,
faith is a big part of it.
Right.
You have to truly believe in what I'm saying and
Right.
what we're talking about.
well, I mean, I think it's easy to say that, but the reality is you're living proof. I cannot understand. You go into a spin class and the spin instructor's 200 pounds. Like, come on, give me a goddamn break. I'm going to go get eyelids, LASIK eye surgery, and the doctor has glasses. Come on, guys. You gotta do
Walk
what
the
you
walk. You gotta walk. I try to walk the walk, yeah.
So I think the key, and I think
'Cause it works.
I think the key is really in the discipline category, and those things that you and I touched upon are the things that I hope people listen to, because I really, whether you come to have surgery or not, if you shred off that 20, 30 pounds, you literally lift an incredible veil off, and the rest, the sky's the limit. I think the rest is easy to figure out. We just got to get out of sort of molasses. So, Tony, as always, a true pleasure. I think everyone's lucky to have Tony on here and talk. And so tell me the 350 million places where people can find you. You have supplement line, you have your own workout. Tell them, just plug it in there.
Well, the broad one is TonyHortonLife.com. Just go to
TonyHortonLife.com.
TonyHortonLife.com. Now, if you want my supplement line, which a lot of people are really enjoying, getting a lot of results, is MyPowerLife.com.
MyPowerLife.com.
Yes,
Got
and
it.
if you want to see me on Tonal, go to Tonal.com, and then you'll see me. But there's a lot of other trainers you want to try to find.
Yeah, you don't want to look at any other trainers. You want to go straight to Tony
All
Horton.
the trainers are great.
He is
They're
the
really
OG.
good.
Yeah, they're all good. He's the OG, the original, the man who started it all. He is the Michael Jordan of health and fitness as we know it.
And then last but not least, my wife and I have started a new program that's doing really, really well right now. You go to PowerNationFitness.com. Power of 4 is on there, Power Sync 60, which is our brand new program for women, and we've had 2 test groups with the gals, and this is a do less, better result program based on women's menstrual cycles, pre, post, and perimenopausal.
So that's where you go to follow Tony, do his exercises, as sort of as you get to have Tony in your living room, which who doesn't want Tony in their living room?
Can't go wrong with that.
So thank you so much for joining us. I know you're busy. I know it's a weekend. I know you got a million things to do, but I very much appreciate it. As always, that's a wrap on plasticsurgery.com. You got me in all the dots. Plastic Surgery Uncensored. 2 things as always. Number 1, go write something nice. We love when you write nice things about us. If you have nothing nice to say, don't write it. And number 2, share, subscribe, and download. Tell people about the show. Hey, oh my God, you should listen to this episode. Tony Horton was on there. Everybody wants to lose weight. Send it to them. Okay, that wraps up this episode. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next time.